Hey Pretty Girl Club, so I wanted to make this video because I came across some bullshit about my girl, my phenotype twin, Miss Tia Mori. First of all, I see a lot of guys online talking about how Tia Mori left her marriage for the wrong reasons, she left because she was bored, and I also sometimes see guys come onto my channel and they'll be like, why can't MLS men and women date each other? Like, why can't we stay together? And I'm going to address both of those in this video today. But to answer the question about why MLS people can't stay together is because relationship problems, they are not tied to a certain phenotype or a certain ethnicity. It's not like, oh, if he's unambiguous and she's an MLS woman, they'll automatically last. And then if it's interracial and you divest, it's automatically going to last longer. No, this is a gender issue. And when it comes to MLS men, some MLS men, not only on YouTube, but in real life, a lot of men will choose their gender over their race. A lot of men will choose their maleness over their black heritage or their mixed race heritage. So relationship problems that we see today, I personally don't believe that they're just based only on ethnicity and culture. I believe that they're based on the fundamental differences between men and women. So let's talk about Tia Mori and her relationship to that one guy. I feel bad not being able to remember his name. But even if Tia Mori left this guy because she was bored, first of all, nobody owes you a marriage. Nobody owes you their whole life. Nobody is obligated or required to be trapped in a prison-like marriage for the next 80 years of their lives. Because think about it. Think about what you do in a prison. You just sit in a cell, right? You're bored. And so if your marriage has boredom and prison-like qualities, meaning he's emotionally unavailable, because usually when a woman is bored in a relationship, usually it has to do with things like the guy is emotionally unavailable, the guy is not as much of a builder as you are as a woman, and we've seen that be the case with Tia Mori and her husband. Tia met her husband when they were both up and coming, they were both popping, they were both on that TV show, and he looked like he was going to be the next A-list celebrity. And for all those dusties out there who say, oh, a lot of women, they're just trying to be gold diggers. Well, in Tia's case, she was not trying to just be a gold digger. Tia was not even hypergamous with this guy. Tia's net worth is way bigger than this guy's net worth. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe that Tia even started dating this guy when he didn't even have a car. So that gold digging argument is out the window. Tia was never even trying to just gold dig or whatever. She obviously saw something special in him. She believed in him. But ladies, this is the problem when you date a man based on his potential. Because I think that is kind of what happened with Tia. So because she had such a pure heart and because, she loves him and he loves her, she saw the great things that he could become. And then as the decades went on, Tia Mori continued to do her acting. I see her all the time on TikTok and on Instagram, constantly going viral on there. So she kept doing her content creation. She kept doing all of those amazing things. And this guy kind of remained stagnant. So a lot of times when women talk about boredom in relationships, it has to do more so with the amount of emotional effort that man is putting into the relationship. He's not putting in the effort anymore. Maybe he's not getting her the flowers anymore. Maybe he's not coming home being excited to look at her anymore. Maybe he's not excited to sleep with her anymore. A lot of guys, they'll leave a relationship because they get bored with the sex. They'll leave the relationship or they'll go cheat on you because they're bored. But if a woman leaves a relationship or a marriage because she is quote unquote bored, which, by the way, Tia Mori never even said that she was bored and that's why she left. But even if she did say that, it's funny how men are allowed to leave a relationship for any reason at any given time, but women are not allowed to do that. Most of the men who talk all this crap about women leaving relationships and being modern women, most of those guys are not even taking care of their own kids. Most of those guys have never even had a long-term relationship, and they don't understand the fundamentals of what it's like to even be a woman or what a woman desires, because those men are undesirable themselves. And so they just see a woman leave a man, and then it just triggers their own internalized trauma of, oh, wow, see, they're always going to leave you. And you know what? I'm not even disagreeing with that because I do think that at this point, a lot of women have started to decenter men. And I think that Tia Mori is proof of that. She has obviously decentered men, or she is not as male-centered as she once was because she was willing to give up her marriage and, kind of risk being alone. She wasn't afraid to be alone like how men are. A lot of men are a lot more afraid to be alone because men do not receive the same validation in society as women do. So I think I've talked about this on other episodes, but a lot of women from the time we're children, we get lots of hugs, we get lots of emotional validation, we get lots of like snuggling and kissing and stuff like that. Whereas with men, it's considered gay to do that to other men, or like a lot of fathers, they don't really do that to their sons. Not to mention the fact that a lot of men of color don't even have a father figure. So a lot of men, they don't receive the same validation that women receive. And so because men do not receive that same validation, they themselves do not know how to give that validation in a marriage. And so when a woman has been in a long-term relationship and she feels kind of invisible in that relationship, this is often what happens. And this is often why women say things like they're bored, or this is why women start to kind of fantasize about the grass being greener on the other side. It's because in a lot of cases for women, the grass actually is greener on the other side if you're a woman who cares a lot about, emotional availability, or the man validating you, or you being seen and heard in a relationship. By the way, these are all normal desires. I've noticed that a lot of men, they are afraid to admit that they want validation and that they want to be seen and heard. There's nothing wrong with that. You should feel seen and you should feel heard in your relationship. But I think that a lot of women, once the guy gets used to them or whatever, a lot of guys in long-term relationships, they will come home. They won't say crap to their wives or their girlfriends or whatever. They'll just go in the room, play video games, look at porn, and then go to bed. And so, yes, that could make a woman feel bored over time because she would feel like, hey, what happened to the excitement? Like, we used to be so excited to see each other. We used to talk on the phone for hours. We used to spend all of this time together. A lot of men have this talking point where it's like, as long as I'm not cheating on you or beating you, then I'm automatically a good man. Meanwhile, the standards for women are astronomical. As a woman, you have to be faithful, you have to be loyal, you have to be fit, feminine, friendly, you have to be in shape, you have to be a good mother, be a good wife, be a good cook, be a good support system, give him a discount on his bills. So it's like you're putting all of these standards on women, but then with men, the standard is, oh, as long as he's not a cheater and as long as he doesn't beat me, then he's automatically a good man. And I've noticed that a lot of the pick-me women, whenever they make these talking points like, oh, well, my man is a good man, what they really mean is that their man is a good man in comparison to the other men. That woman doesn't mean that he's actually a good man, like his morals are the same as hers. Has anyone ever noticed that? Usually when a woman says, my man is a good man, it doesn't mean that he's on her level. It doesn't mean that he is as emotionally available as her. It doesn't mean that he is as, financially stable as her. It just means that, hey, he's not as much of trash as the other guys. Has anyone else noticed that when it comes to the standards of men versus women? And also, sometimes when women get quote unquote bored, I feel like it's because they grow apart in the relationship. So like if you look at Tia Mowry's relationship with her husband, like I said, she kept working, she kept doing acting, she kept doing all of these different things. And when's the last time you've heard of him being in any like really big movies or TV shows? Like no shade, I'm not trying to be like rude or anything, but I don't even know this guy's name. Like to this day, I'm recording the video. Actually, let me look up what this guy's name is, for God's sakes. Corey Hardix, that's his name, Corey Hardrict. But yeah, so it's like this guy is 43 years old and, he never seemed to, I guess, achieve the same career goals as Tia. And I think that a lot of people, they still have this fairy tale belief about marriage that if you get into a marriage, you're automatically going to stay together till death do you part. And I feel like that's why a lot of guys want marriage more than women. By the way, I'm convinced that men want relationships more than women, that men want marriage more than women, and that men are more afraid to be alone than women. I'm convinced at this point because I've just seen way too much evidence to prove that. But I think a lot of both men and women have this unrealistic expectation that if you marry someone, you're automatically going to stay together forever. No, that's completely false, and we know that. And I think the reason that a lot of men in particular, especially 50-50 men or average men or men who are not builders, they will see a woman like Tia Mowry and they'll say, wow, she's gorgeous. She's this gorgeous MLS woman. She's very ambitious. She's so talented. She can sing. She can act. She does social media. She has all these amazing things going for her. And then those guys will codependently tether themselves to these women, or they will try to lock her down so that they can go and brag to their friends, look what my basic ass was able to lock down. Look who I got. Like I said, a lot of us MLS women, we are like the Barbie dolls or kind of like the trophies. And so a lot of men, the reason you see them getting so triggered when us MLS women, when we actually maintain our worth and we know our worth, and then we're able to drop that guy, they get really mad because they're like, hey, how dare you have a life that doesn't put me at the center of it? And I think that that's what Tia Mowry did. And I think that because of her divorce, it kind of shattered a lot of men's fantasies about getting with a woman like Tia Mowry, kind of the wholesome MLS woman, the classy one. She's not ghetto. She's not known for like being a thought or anything like that. And so if Tia Mowry is leaving her husband, I feel like it causes a lot of other men who wanted a woman like that to completely lose hope or whatever. And I think that's why a lot of men get very upset. Have you ever noticed how men only respect you if you are submitted to another man? So men will only show respect for you if you are submitted to a husband or if you're submitted to even a father figure or something like that. But if you are a single, quote unquote, modern woman, if you're single, beautiful, and you have your own talents, kind of like Tia Mowry, you're able to amass millions of dollars like Tia Mowry, you're able to work for yourself and live life on your own terms. Notice how threatening that becomes for a lot of these men because they feel like, oh crap, patriarchy is not, I can't control her with patriarchy anymore. Like she can actually up and leave me. And I just think it's funny how when people like Tia Mowry or even Megan Good get these divorces, it's like it's always automatically the woman's fault or like it's automatically based on something that she did wrong. And don't get me wrong, I do think some of these women are in the wrong, but I think that the only wrongs that some of these women made was centering men. I think about women like Jada Pinkett, how horrible Jada Pinkett's life turned out because she was centering Will Smith or whatever, and then she became so bitter at the fact that she gave up her career so that she could be a wife and a mother. Meanwhile, she's kind of helping him build, she's helping his status as like this good, wholesome man. He goes out, he continues to build his millions or whatever. Meanwhile, she's not even getting the benefits of really being a wife because it's like she's not receiving the love that she thought she would receive. She's not receiving the validation from him that she thought she would receive. And so then she was mad and bitter and angry, and then she decides to make this book or whatever. And Tia Mowry didn't want to end up like that. She didn't want to end up like the Jada Pinkett, having to talk shit about her own marriage and her own life in order to get her bags. Tia Mowry wants to live the soft life, and it's very obvious that Tia Mowry can live the soft life on her own terms. She's talented, she's beautiful, she's classy, she's articulate. She can really do anything she wants to do with or without Corey. And I think that that's what makes a lot of people mad, and I think that's what makes even some MLS men mad who rely on things like a patriarchal society in order to determine their own value. Because remember, patriarchy actually hurts men as well because it makes men hyper-competitive with one another and it makes men find their entire value and self-esteem and self-worth in how many beautiful women they can sleep with or whether or not XYZ beautiful woman wants them. So I think that's how patriarchy actually ends up hurting men. Okay, so I am midway through editing, and while I was looking up images of Tia Mowry, I found out that she is apparently dating this one guy, the guy from 17 again. Do you guys remember that movie? Oh my god, I have so much nostalgia right now. But if this is actually true and she is dating him, which she allegedly is, what do you guys think? It looks like she got herself a new MLS boyfriend. But anyway, what do you ladies think? Let me know in the comments section, and I'll talk to you next time. Stay pretty, ladies.